What's up, y'all? I'm just jumping straight into it. So today I'm going to talk about why I stopped smoking, and if you guys see me looking down at my laptop from time to time, because I'm just peeking on my notes. Okay, so just jump into it, straight into it. Number one, the temporary dopamine. So when you ball up a lot, you feel really good, and like a lot of stuff seems happy, and it's just like life seems like it's going amazing. You're laughing at the most dumbest things, especially if you're smoking with someone else. Everybody's laughing, having a good time, but I feel like that's a way of avoiding the need of attacking your life problems, right? Especially if you're stressed. A lot of people smoke when you're stressed. Some girls smoke to lose weight, but yeah, the temporary dopamine hits wasn't doing any good, because when you finish being high, you still have those problems. Sometimes even worse, because you're procrastinating on them, making it come at you even harder when you're done with your craze. So that was number one. Number two was the false sense of achievement and action. So for me, when I first started balling up, I do make some music sometimes. I make music in like a year or something, but like when I'm bored, I make a track or two. So at first when I started writing songs, I was really inspirational, creative, and then you have some snakes in your life that you tell them about this or that, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, that's ass. So then it kind of takes a hit with your self-confidence or self-esteem. So I would ball up and then I'll freestyle, and I figured, I'm like, yo, this is sick. Like when I was freestyling, my mind was working differently. So I'm like, yo, let's keep going. I use it as a need of being creative. The more I kept doing this, come to realize it was actually ruining my creativity, because I started relying on an outside source to give me internal creativity. So then when I stopped doing it, a part of my mind started saying, you're not that creative. You need the drugs to get you to that same level. When really my baseline was like this. But because I started depending on the drugs, my baseline became like this, and then this, and then this. And then I kind of lied to myself and forced myself to think I needed this when that wasn't the case at all. So that was number two. Number three was I would get paranoid and overreact, apologizing, causing people to dislike me and me dislike myself. So a lot of times I would do stuff that in my mind seemed like it was terrible. But quite frankly, it was just normal. People were just, oh, this guy's just vibing. This guy, maybe you might go over boundary a little bit, but like a lot of times people were just like, oh, this guy's vibing doing this thing. But in my mind, I felt judged by everybody. Really judged. So I kept apologizing, saying, oh, sorry this, sorry I did that. So every time I got back sober, every time I'd be like, oh, sorry guys, this, that, and the third. And then it kind of annoyed people, because like, why are you always apologizing? Well, no one wants to be with that. So people are going to stop inviting you out and stuff, because they're like, this guy's always, when he gets sauce, he's always doing this, that, and the third, and it's just annoying, right? And yeah, you could be a high functioning smoker or whatever, and if that's your case, cool. But for majority of the people, they're going off people like Snoop Dogg and all these artists who's made it, who regularly ball up. But like, these guys are the anomalies of the average, right? You have to look at life like this. For example, when someone, let's say there's a golf tournament, right? When someone does amazing on the first day, how do you predict what they're gonna do the second day? This is the average. Let's say they're here. It is better to predict with the average baseline if you have no other information, and kind of bring them down a little bit, notches down, than say, oh, they're this, so they're gonna go like this, or oh, they're gonna stay here, right? And that's the same with balling up or smoking, right? So you have to kind of look at the equation like that, and it will help you overall. So yeah, and it really caused me to dislike myself, because it was taking a hit on my self-esteem, because I felt like, oh, I'm such a burden to my friends, oh, this, that, and the third, right? So it was just, yeah, it wasn't good for my mental health. Obviously, you could be different, but I'm just letting you know, majority of times, people who are making and doing good are anomalies, and quite frankly, they probably put in the work when they were sober, majority of times. Two, I noticed I was starting to age. Like, I want a youthful face. I want a young face. I want to go talk to a girl and have her say, oh, how old are you? And then I say my age, and I see like, oh, I thought you were younger. Right? I don't want to look like I'm 55 when I'm 30. Right? So that was a big motivator for me because I was coughing, I could feel the phlegm, and like there's so much health negatives of this too, right? If I do a quick search on ChatGPT, let's see. You get lowered risk of respiratory infections. Um, you get better lung function, improved heart health, improved circulation within your blood circulation, right? And enhanced taste and smell. This fucking up your taste and your smell. You can't even fully enjoy the food you love to enjoy, right? Improves energy, and like I said, the youthful skin, improves better blood flow, giving a skin healthier appearance. Reduce risk of serious diseases like lung cancer, heart disease, stroke, COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Increase life expectancy, right? So improves fertility and pregnancy, right? So a lot of times I feel like people are running away from problems and they don't face it, so they turn to these drugs and alcohol. And it's like, cool if you want to die, but like, why do you want to die? The world can always be better. The world can always be better. And I feel like there's plus a problem with these pessimists and these half glass empty people where they look at every solution you can provide them, they have a problem to match it. I know so much people like that in my life, and I always us glass half full people, we always kind of distance ourselves because we don't want to put the toxicity into our minds. So just make sure you're not looking at your life problems like that, and you'll be fine. So let's jump back into the points I made. So I just noticed I was starting to get addicted, and I like to look at life like this. Imagine you're stranded on a private island. Let's say you took a cruise or something, and like there's no engine in the ship, and you guys are stuck on this island. Let's say it's a day, 2, 3. Let's say it's a week. Let's say it's a month. Let's say it's a year or two. I always wanted to be the person that, okay, this is the situation. Boom. What are we doing, guys? Boom. All right, we need shelter. Let's go find water. Let's go find edible food. Okay, who's doing this? Okay, I got this, I got that, I got that. I always want to be that guy that just hits the ground running, boom, 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 gets a plan, make sure me and my team are good. A lot of y'all are gonna end up in a situation being that guy that's like, boom, 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 is active the first time. Within an hour, says, yo, fuck, I need smokes. Can't even focus on a mission because you're like, oh shit, I need a smoke, bro. And then it's hitting you. You're killing your mental by yourself. You're adding increased suffering, right? Like when you're stressed and you don't find a way to cope it, and I'm not sponsored, but there's an app called the Liven app, which has been amazing for my mental health. When there's no other healthy ways to cope it, you relegate to these toxic means. And that doesn't do you good in the long run. It doesn't. And unless you've already reached out your goals and where you want to be, which I doubt it, majority of people, I'm not dissing you, just statistics, it's taken away from your money. And that's the scam of weed and drugs and all that. Is at the beginning, it's free. At the beginning, misery loves company, so we were gonna offer you a token. People think they're doing you a favor because you're having fun. They're trying to peer pressure you, whatever. The beginning is free, and you don't really care because you know you're not gonna do it regularly, right? Like, oh, cool. Bum a smoke, get a smoke, get a smoke. And then when you're hooked, that's when they get you. Now you're starting to buy a dig, as they call it, a gram, 2 grams, 3 grams, a twin, a quarter. That adds up to your funds, that adds up to your fee. I asked my boy who smokes cigarettes regularly, and I'm like, yo, how much does it cost? And a pack is what, 30 now? They run through a pack within a day or two? You add that up to a month. That's for serious smokers, even moderate smokers. You run through a pack, let's say you run through a pack in a week, 2 weeks. What, $30, 60, add that up throughout the year. It adds up, buddy. All right, so if you're not where you need to be, why are you doing stuff that's diverting you and making it slower to reach your goals? All right, so you got that going. And I just care about y'all. So for me personally, the way that what I used to help me kind of get back into the right track and help me kind of just be more healthier and just not need any vices or anything like that is I had to talk to my therapist, and he gave me this really good point, right? So he said, every day you don't do it. put a little tick on a sheet or a piece of paper, right? I started doing that. 2, 3, 4. Like obviously there's times that I want to do it, but then I kind of threw out everything. I made it harder to get to my vices, right? If I had a lighter, I put it in the back of my closet. If I had a paper, if I had like a pipe or whatever, I'll throw it out. I'll throw out my lighters. I won't even hide it. I'll throw out everything. So if I did want to feel like I needed to bum smoke or something, I would have to go buy it. I have to leave the crib and stuff, making it harder. That stuff went. Step 2 is when I started making the ticks on the sheet. So every day I'll make a little tick, And by the time you've reached, like, let's say a month or 2, you look at the paper and it's starting to look good. It's an internal validation system, right? So then you'll see how much ticks are on that paper, and then you're kind of like, fuck, I don't want to break it now. So then it helps you reinforce, like, yo, this is my new personality, this is who I am, right? So these were 2 strong tips that really helped me kind of break free. And 3, you could tell your friends about it if they regularly bottle up with you and or smoke with you, and tell them, like, yo, I'm not trying to do this anymore. Like, if they see me doing it, like, put some money up, man. Like, I'll give you $10, $20. A lot of people don't want to lose money, especially if it's a number they're not comfortable with, right? If you say, I'll give you 100, 200, 300, 1,000, that's really gonna help you lock in, right? So, yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like my shit. Hit me up if you have any more questions, and yeah, deuces. Amy, thank you for being quiet when you came downstairs.